Bookmap stream here. It is Wednesday, July 31st, 10:30 Eastern Time. And the craziness abounds. If you haven't joined us from another server, we're just managing the crazy bullishness today. And going into, of course, FOMC here, watching liquidity. We just had liquidity wipe here at 19,500 for NASDAQ. We have GEX rolled to current location of 5560 on SPX. So we could be nearing a bit of a profit-taking area for the markets. Small profit taking, of course. Still, you have to stay on guard going into the FOMC event. There is the YouTube right there. All right. So much buying into FOMC makes me feel fishy. Yep. That's a very, very large move. But go back and look at the charts, what's been happening. We've had a pretty good amount of selling the past 2 weeks. You know, since July 10th now, about 2.5 weeks, it's been a great amount of selling with a target into the 5400s. We hit that, bounced, and this could be the other. Well, obviously, this is a lot of unraveling of positions here. That's why we're up 700 points on NASDAQ. But today, closing this candle with FOMC could lead the structural move higher, not just the short closing, the initial bounce off of squeezing out the downside positions. You know, as puts roll off the books, which were deep, deep in the money puts, it's a tailwind for the market. The market begins to enter into that tailwind move as the deltas start to fluctuate, which changes their hedging into buying the underlying. But once we get into a structured move where the algorithms now start flipping into buy mode, that's when you get the move higher into 5,600 on SPX, maybe even 5,700, and so on and so forth. Now here's the little the tidbit that'll cook your noodle, though. This move, this recovery off the lows, is so aggressive, so large, that it wiped out 6 days worth of movement in one candle. So not only is it a strong bounce, this is an incredibly strong bounce, and it's already almost in one single candle wiped out nearly half of the entire 2 weeks of downside moves. So if this does turn into a structured bull move back up to highs, which I think it will, that in no time at all we're going to be at new all-time highs. And then where do we go? Because we still have a month until we get into September timeframe, until we get into FOMC. So and a lot can happen in a month, obviously. And that is pretty interesting here, especially NASDAQ. You know, NASDAQ is 700 points. It's almost 3% green. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal day that changes things here going into this environment. $55.63. You are unmuted. Yep, I know. I just fixed it. My apologies. I went a long spiel. It's on YouTube, though. $55.63. I guess I'll have to say all that again, huh? VIX down to 1630. NVIDIA's coming up 115. When I first read VPA, I didn't understand how the market worked and why it moved. I just see a high volume hammer and enter, keep taking loss after loss, and thought VPA didn't work until I realized it's an understanding that you use VPA to get an understanding of what's happening to potentially unexpected and foreseeing signals. I love it. So as a human, I wish success to my fellow man, but as a trader, I need to be hard for everyone that comes behind me. I struggle with this sometimes. Man, it's like me and you are so similar in stuff like that. That's why I appreciate you having this server. Appreciate having your server because you've been doing this longer than I have, I believe. I've been doing this 13 years, and it's a hard racket, and it's not something that you can just so cavalierly, sit here at the computer and jump on and make a ton of money and sign off and go do your thing. So I find myself, like I said, my pet peeve of, that's why arrogance and ego are my pet peeve, because I know that you cannot be like that and trade well in this market. You have to have an underlying understanding with what's going on here. That's why thesis matters more than even levels, because if you don't understand what's going on, you're not going to be able to trade levels or anything else. So it's not as simple as, all right, let me turn on the computer, sit in my butt, there's my month goal, all right, I'm going to go do my thing. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. You have to have a good hardline understanding of the market structure, what's going on in the market at some point. And it takes a lot of effort and back testing and blood and sweat and tears and Mike Tyson pounding on your face a little bit and eating your ear. Pull a little Evander Holyfield. $55.64. Coming up to 500 liquidity. They did wipe off 500 liquidity on the books there, but it looks like they're going to head on to it. So far, it's a strong trend up day in addition to a strong trend up morning. And we are coming up on 800 points from yesterday's close, or yesterday's bottom in the afternoon there. ES is already up 130, almost 140 points. As NASDAQ has gone from 18,700 to now 819, almost 500. So almost 800 points. Extraordinary. There's a balance too, though, between market awareness, understanding what's going off the deep end, having a theory every time. I don't know. I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or Jimmy Buffett. No one knows. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yesterday, proves that what you're saying there is that I had a theory both mornings, but I was wrong both mornings. But being able to pivot and understanding what's going on with the market, that's why you have to follow in your price action analysis. That I was still able to save a good day. So yeah, I mean, you can have a theory one way or the other, but the market's going to do what it's going to do. $900. The moment you think you're Mike Tyson in the market, you get Buster Douglas. Yeah, it was like 45-second KO. $46. Really just comes from studying the charts and seeing what happens. Plot major levels where we bounce and reject. Watch the volume and candle patterns when we reach that level and see how much it reacts. Note the patterns you see and how much you can realize to find entries. Learn how to read the accumulation distribution cycles. Understand what price action volume shows in retracements of a trend. And identify ways to capitalize it. I like it. 19,490 here, coming up on 500, still straight up since that little shakeout there at the morning open. The morning range is set, but obviously we are above it now and extending away from it into 500. Have I ever done a video on how to plot SR levels? I have. Yep. Both on Tier 2 and on the YouTube. There's not really much to say here other than up. All markets are kind of just trickling higher here. The options flow is trickling higher into 55.20 up into now 55.70. QQQ is up to 477, and there's exposure all over the books, and of course these upward flows here. Definitely not something to short into the 59 or 19,500 here. Up and up and up pull. ES did the same. They've got now an iceberg sitting at 55.65 and liquidity coming on at 55.35. So I'm in those dark times. I'm not profitable, but have the periods of profitability. I have a system that works just fine, and understanding why the market does what it does stops me from being consistent as emotions. I always go on a string of losses, think my system is bad, and pivot. I'll go on a period of winning and think there's a way I can get more edge, so I pivot. If I draw it out, I want to blow up an account reset. Well, I feel your pain, man. And you're still very young and very bright future. You got a great head on your shoulders, so you can do it. $55.63. Nice little rejection, just under 500. Didn't fill it. NVIDIA top wicking. Nice engulfing red there. 15-minute. Let's go to the 60-minute. So 60-minute, we have obviously a large green. We just filled the imbalance from Wednesday on ES by a couple of points. NASDAQ is not even close to the next imbalance. They've filled all their structure below from the past week. Next on deck for them is going to be up in the 700, lower 700 area, and they're not even close to that yet. So, but definitely some strong green hourly candles here. Can anyone else not get into the Bookmap stream? I'm not sure. There's only... Looks like people are having trouble getting into the stream. There's only like 15 people in there, so it's not overloaded. I don't know. Oh, the verification. Yeah. Yep. You can also get on YouTube as well. $19,460. VIX is still holding right at our 22 pivot. This is what I'm looking for 1622 to give out, if that's the case. $460. And you'll have to realize that y'all are learning how to trade in like 1992 Bulls, Chicago Bulls environment. Like you're learning. It's like if you started watching the NBA in 1992 and saw Jordan and that crew, and then you go to then you all of a sudden you start watching the Bulls in 2001. It's a different time frame, man. And that's what you're learning now. You're learning this is as good as the market has ever been by far. The opportunity is boundless. So you got to cut yourself some slack. You're learning in an environment where you've got to be able to pivot very quickly, even on the daily chart. I mean, this is a very prime example of that. So you're learning in hugely historic times here. It's a fantastic environment to do it in. I rarely trade before the FOMC event, but took a small position on SPY and broke the morning low and just setting stops. Beautiful. I haven't taken too much trades myself this morning. All my trades were the long overnight stuff, simply because my theory was the same. I was just kind of being very patient before the FOMC event. I understand what you're saying, but I have a feeling with the rise of technology, AI, I have a feeling this won't get any easier. Well, you got a point there too. You're locked out from the Bookmap stream. following up on. $55.63. 1 sec. Here you go. Here's a verification if you need to get on. Yeah, they're trying to make an attempt to keep the crap out of the Bookmap stream, you know, verified members. So there you go. All right. Anyway, so right here, 55.60, we have a nice little top wick across the board on ES and NASDAQ. It does appear we have another iceberg sitting here at 55.60 with liquidity down to 55.35. NASDAQ has got liquidity up to 500. They had this guy spoofing down here at 391 with a couple of top wicks after a red engulfing here. So maybe a little bit of profit taking in store here in a couple of minutes, but so far you have to wait for the confirmation on the 15. Overall, they made an attempt at 500 and didn't quite get there. But they put it back on. They wiped off the liquidity. They put it back on here, right here at, it's actually right on 500. So ES already filled the imbalance and went lower. NASDAQ is unable to do the same. At the moment, NASDAQ cannot print a single a follow-up red candle, which still is signs that the buyers are in control until they're not. If they break under approximately 442, that might be a sign that we're ready for a little bit of profit taking. But until then, up, up, and away. Up, up, and away. We'll see what this little candle does here. CVD is slowly declining, so I would pay attention to that. We had a pretty aggressively green CVD, and you see throughout the morning they're trimming it, trimming it, trimming it, trimming it. And Dow, it's actually about to break into negative territory. So the sellers are starting to hit here just a touch. Not hard, but just a touch. It might be time for a little bit of profit taking coming up in the upcoming half hour or so. There's a little bit more selling. There's a little bit more selling. There we go. 19,994. So coming off a little bit of top wick right here. You see just a touch here. And if this top wick closes on the 15, we might be able to get down to a retest of 414. So again, this is kind of all just painting a picture until we get to FOMC. The real action is going to be into and after FOMC. 2 o'clock, fade the additional move, then fade the 2:30 move for an overall plan. Until then, play at your own risk and be careful. I thought I didn't have the right roll. I've just been watching on YouTube. Close my TLTs for a nice profit and left runners. Nice. Yeah, 2 p.m. kicks off the actual rate decision, and then 2:30 is when J-Pal starts using reading from his crumpled up piece of paper. There's the top wick rollover. And you see the CVD is now in negative territory for NASDAQ for the first time today, so the sellers are starting to hit this thing a little bit. TLT's coming off. Maybe on deck for a little bit of profit taking. You can see, if you look on the 5-minute chart right now, you could see as we have entered into supply here for a move on NASDAQ. We've had 1 candle and then 2 red candles and now 3 with a lot of top wicks off of the 500 area, which is leading to a little bit of a round over look here for just a touch of profit taking. TLTs or bonds are starting to come off here too. We will see. J-Power repeats the same speech. Yep. Yep. So the Bank of Japan raised interest rates from 0.1 to 0.25. Oh, that was their. It was forecasted that they would raise 0.1, but they did 0.25. So they raised unexpectedly higher than what they was forecasted. And if you look at NKD, it's putting on a phenomenal amount of volatility today. What's an NKD? That's the Japanese index. So, you know, when Bank of Japan cuts or hikes rates, you're going to see that manifest on their index. ES is now back below the morning high, still holding there. A little bit more profit taking. The CVD is still holding here negative. And so far, I would love to see some sell-side icebergs to really kind of drive some. We have a little bit here, but still small potatoes. Here comes the profit taking, just a touch. Just a touch. Here comes the red on ES. A little bit more red. They're down about 10, 14 points. About 14 points. If the NASDAQ takes out this little 426 area, you can see a little bit of profit taking down to like 414, 400. Again, I'm being very careful. Just a little profit taking going into the afternoon event here. NVIDIA, Apple's going back up. Here comes the more red. Excellent. Excellent. $55.20 still GEX right now. You see the Dow's coming off here too. If interested, the Euro index has a pretty good movement as well, and it's half the tick size of NKD. Nice. All right, here comes ES dropping just a touch. NASDAQ is doing the same. And here comes that 414 test right here. Large red engulfings across the books on ES and NASDAQ. And here's your profit taking. Did you watch the CVD drop off? Look at the CVD. It just went from plus 700 to negative 5,500 in the matter of 5 minutes. The sellers are hitting this thing hard. Liquidity rolled over. They pulled out 500. And you see the 5-minute candle on NASDAQ structure in red candles, which means we're entering into supply. Same exact thing I took on the July 10th put in the YouTube video. Is that when you start to see sellers hit the tape, you're going to start to see it manifest itself in the form of the price action candles going into supply. And here we go, roll right over. CVD plummets. And that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. $5.50. NVIDIA's top wicking. Apple's rounding over. 55.50. Crazy stuff, dude. Crazy stuff. What do we get to? We got to 411. So here's the next 5-minute candle. Let's see how the algorithms flip. Can the algorithms print two red engulfings in a row here? Otherwise, we're going to base. So there you go. 5-minute candles flip. Immediate green right off of 411, which is our support at 414. and all the way back up. We've got liquidity here at 552. 421 dropping back over. The line in the sand is right here for a little bit of profit taking or a little bit more, but this is the area. Keep an eye here. The CVD is 443. Bounce. One of my clients in my agency is trying to build a meme coin ETF. There you go. That'll be fun. Minute. Let's go back here. So the moment the 5-minute candle hit, Apple's running back over, by the way. The moment the 5-minute candle hit, we went instant green. We already bought up most of the red candle that engulfed us back down right into support. And we'll see here what the next 5-minute candle happens. But so far, the fact that the algorithms immediately went green and now engulfed the red engulfing, we have back-to-back engulfings, is more along the lines that is it. You know, we're done with we're done with that. So that's a key into support right there. Bottom wicking hard off of it, and we're about to engulf the red engulfing. Those 5-minute algos, man, it's crazy. Pelosi is back buying more NVIDIA. She just bought another 1.3 million of NVIDIA. She now sold 2.2 of Microsoft. Nice. Alrighty, if NASDAQ closes over this engulfing, which looks like it will, then I would look for 500. If you are a scalper, I want to use this example as a PSA. If you are trading scalping, you have to be aware of the time frame. If you're about ready to enter a scalp, do not enter a scalp right at the closure of a 5-minute candle, because most of the time you're going to get reversed. Scalping, if you're long-term trading and you're day trading for a couple hours, doesn't really matter. But if you're trying to scalp an accurate entry, do not enter at the end of a 5-minute candle. Wait for the next candle to start to form, because frequently you'll get instant reversed, and they just engulf the engulfing candle with that move right onto support. It also helps knowing where the supports are too. 414. Yeah, and then if you have them line up, yeah, definitely. Like on the 45-minute, 5 minutes, yeah. And we have another 5-minute candle getting ready to start here in a couple of seconds, and we'll see what they do with that. But this, the fact that they have engulfed this, most likely we're going to go right on back up to 500 here. CVD is now back to green as well. All right, next 5 minute. Apple is coming down, a little bit of pressure for them. NVIDIA is creeping 114.70, 417 Microsoft here. Yeah, have to pay attention to that. Just be very careful. Just give you, look at the little time. Just look at the time. before you take a scalp and figure out where we are on the candles. Hit my stops with 100% on SPY, and now I'll wait for the main event. There you go. There you go. It's a little interesting that they're holding this thing so aggressively high into the event, knowing that we're going to pause. So it should make for a lot of volatility. A great scenario would be massive dump and then buy opportunity going into tomorrow. If they could wipe out like 50% of this move, it would be a great opportunity to buy into tomorrow. Do you think that last candle on the 15 is a potential hanging man? It depends on this candle. If this candle closes down, then yeah, but so far in the 15, all they're doing is hammering this little bit of red. 414 here was the support off of it, and they absolutely smoked that support. If they close this 15-minute candle green, then no. All we're going to do is go back and reattach 15. There's absolutely no selling here. So I was very careful with my choice of words going down for NASDAQ to 414 as profit taking. There's zero selling on this chart. Zero. They're the algorithmic flows here. There's no selling order below to the order book here to roll things down. It's all just profit taking. So all they did was close out a couple of positions upwards off of the 500 area, and they rolled it back down to 414 and instantly hammered it. So until you start to see the order book get bearish, until you start to see the level 2 data start to pull order flow downwards, we're not going to sell. So just be careful taking downside positions other than a scalp until you get that bearish setup on the order book. And as well as if you can get it on the option chain, that'll help you too. But right now, it's nothing but buying. There's no selling on this order book whatsoever. Since we've had a big red, so we've had big red with CPI, could you foreshadow the reaction of no change to an FOMC? It's possible. It's possible. I'm trying not to form a bias going into the event. I'm just going to play the reaction to the initial posting of the data. Usually it works pretty well to fade the initial reaction of the data. So honestly, I don't care what happens. If this thing goes super, super green, I'm not going to get all bullish at the top. I'm going to look to fade it. And if it tanks, I'm not going to get all bearish and start calling bull trap. I'm just going to start looking along the bottom. Alrighty. What time is it? 11:04? So NASDAQ just hammered that candle, engulfed it, and now with the closure of this 5-minute here, we'll probably start making our way up into 500. So already we are about 50 points up after the little bounce, and they got to clear out 500 liquidity here. But we're still kind of back and forth. We've been in this little range here since 10:05. So we're going on about an hour now of carving out this range on NASDAQ. So, until the signs hit, just be patient. There's no reason to start to get all hot and bothered here. Yeah, investing.com. That's what I use. CVD is still 140. Apple rolled off. VIX is still going down. NVIDIA is bottom wicking, still going. Microsoft is going up. Dow is going back up. On the 15-minute chart, we've had one red candle since 7 o'clock this morning. All green. We were in danger of having a red candle there at 10:45, but they hammered the crap out of it right off support. Probably going to go to 500 here. Let's see, ES. Some of the strongest rallies we've had in a year, 2 years. Insane price action. Right here, liquidity at 500. New CEO for Boeing. That was probably overdue. $462 going higher. Back and forth. Here comes the 500 right off support, 414. I got it by 3 points. And now we're heading to 500. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Talk through that entire move. Top wick right down, profit taking to 414, bottom wick right back to 500. Pretty low stress stuff right now, going towards FOMC. $19,470. I'll bookmap this. If there's a red liquidity line above, why not just a limit order short in that area? Because it doesn't really work that way. It could work that way, but it's not the intent of that. My goal is to use these liquidity levels to figure out where the market is seeking out, because the market always, price action always seeks out liquidity. Right now, main liquidity is 500. They are taking on and putting off 500 several times. And after that hammer candle right there off 414, then most likely the target is going to be somewhere in or around 500. I don't necessarily want to short off that level, because if they have more structured liquidity, as the closer we get to 500, if they are skewing the book higher, 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 then we're not going to reject and come off of it. Those aren't resistance levels per se. They're just liquidity levels. And it could mean a rejection, but it also could mean just one rung in the ladder on the way up. So now, having said that, the fact that there is no more liquidity above 500 after rolling everything up, that could be the area where we hit and then transact downward. So we can't join the Bookmap stream now if we don't have a Bookmap account to verify. That's correct. Yep. That's correct. Here comes 500. Up and up and up. Man, within 2 points on NASDAQ is pretty phenomenal. That's a phenomenal entry. Apple's 222.73. Coming up to 500 again. Once we get to 500, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. But we'll see. But we will see. I had an interesting comment on my Linda Rasky video. Somebody said Linda Rasky is a proven fraud. Anyone know anything about that? I've never read anything that says Linda Rasky is a fraud. Where's the 500 you're saying? Right here at NASDAQ 19,500. Right here, which I'm currently playing NASDAQ, not SPX, so 19,500. Maybe she's really nasty. They probably followed advice and didn't work out, so they got mad. Yeah. Most likely, that's what people do when they lose, is they call somebody a fraud. We have NVIDIA is coming up, 115. Good morning, Captain. Looks like I missed the boat. Going to sit in the bleachers until the main show. There you go. That's okay. All right, sorry about that. Back. If you guys want interesting sport to watch the Olympics, check out gymnastics. Men's all-around finals. Gymnastics is pretty fun stuff. All right, 470 still going for 500 NASDAQ. At this point, it shouldn't be a surprise. Just roll your trailing stops up and grab 500. You're welcome. Merry Christmas. I heard a lot about ICT. I have no idea what it is. Do you know? Yeah, so, what ICT and the ICD guy did was he took volume price analysis trading, he repackaged it, and used his own terminology, and sold it, and throw in a little arrogance and ego, and you got yourself a personality. I was one for 12 years. That's right, you were a gymnast. That's awesome. All right. So what I'm going to do is put a limit order to execute my orders at 500. A couple of them. I'm going to leave some on there, but other than that, I fully expect 500 to wipe here. After that, we will see what happens. We will see what happens. Very strong bullish action here, and then of course I'll be going into FOMC with yeah, here comes 490. CVD has now flipped. You see the CVD indicator? That's why we look for the profit taking down to 414. CVD went from positive 700 down to negative 700 and even 5600 on ES, and now it's climbing back to green 400. So the CVD shows the aggregate buyers leaving the tape, re-entering the tape, and flows back up here. No real selling action here. It's all a little profit taking every now and then. I used to be a swimmer, so I love watching those events. Nice. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. A little bit of red. 19472. Are you going live for FOMC? Yes, I am. Yes, I will. I like the diversity in gymnastics. Yep. Nice. What was your, so I guess you could do, you're great at handstand walks, Robert, for those CrossFit workouts. I've been doing, I can do handstand push-ups, but I can't do handstand walks. I'm terrible. Oh, it's some handstand walks for bear crawls, because no shot. Yeah. You have to get the balance right, though. You, the many reps, you'll be able to do it easily. Yeah, I'd like to try it. I still got to shed about 20 pounds. Can reduce the stress on my shoulders, but all right, here comes the 500 touch after just a small little bottom wick here. Should be any surprise. The flows are still going higher and higher here. Keep on going to 500. Now, from a bookmap perspective, I don't see much coming up here after 500 except that little bitty cat snare at 550. So I'll keep on playing to 500, and after that, roll the stops up tight or however you want and see if we can get that. Maybe even 550 would be fantastic. wish I had more diversity in sports because I suck at the main three: football, basketball, and soccer. Yeah, but man, there's definitely a stigma against gymnastics at an early young age for boys, but I really wish it would become more mainstream because if you look at all the like the CrossFitters, the top CrossFitters that have a strong background in gymnastics are beasts, absolute beasts. Just the absolute core strength that you develop in those sports is fantastic. I wish I would have had gymnastics. I played every sport in the book, never did gymnastics, and I wish I had. Because I wouldn't be a big old like ogre right now if I had. VIX is still rolling off, by the way. Yeah, absolutely, Robert. Have I flown anything other than fighter jets? Well, actually, I haven't flown very many fighter jets. So I've been in an F-16. Yeah, it wasn't my platform, but I've been in one. It's a fantastic experience. So my experience is in other aircraft. I've flown dozens of aircraft, but both on the military side and in the personal side. There's a lot of ups and downs for fighter jets. Fighter jets are extremely fun, extraordinary, one of the coolest things you'll ever do in your life, but extremely hard on your body too. It'll tear your back and your knees up. And you're deployed 6 months every year. What's your playbook for SPY? Fade the initial move. I don't want to go into FOMC thinking, well, it's a rate cut, so it's going to be bullish. But they know it's going to rate cut, so they're actually going to go bearish. But I don't want to do all that stuff. So what I'd rather do is just go neutral and fade the initial move. So if there's a huge dump right at 2 o'clock, you buy it up. If it's a huge buy up at 2 o'clock, you fade it. And that's it. That's what I typically like to do. If you don't play FOMC, what I encourage you to do is do not get hung up on the initial move. So if it goes extremely, extremely bullish after this extreme bullishness already at FOMC, don't sit there and be like, all right, we'll go into the moon, baby, because you're going to get caught off guard when they reverse it. And same way if we go down. Don't be thinking bull trap on a huge red move and instead look to buy it up. I'm 6'3", 230, so the air awareness doesn't go well for me. People as big aren't meant for flying through the air. You're a big dude. 6'3", 230 is huge. Heck, right now I'm 6 foot and 220, 225 actually. A little bit of red NASDAQ, not quite getting to 500 yet. We got to 488. You should check that guy out. I'll take a look. Yeah, stuff is interesting to watch. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even know how he does that. That's nuts. Pure stability. Another bottom wick. Let's see if we can actually get 500. Creep it up right before we sign off here. Beautiful. $19,487. Now, here's another conversation for you. Tomorrow afternoon, we have count them, 4 major earnings after the bell, all reporting at the same. I'm sorry, 3. I got dramatic there, but I was wrong. 3, count them, 3 earnings tomorrow after the bell. What happens if they all go the same direction? Right now, Microsoft is the only red name on the tape. So, all right, 480 again. Do want to say, hey, Bookmap is holding a competition called the Blue Jacket Competition. Today is the last day to get in. So if you'd like to do that, I'll post the link here. It's a trading competition. Highly encourage you to go take a look at it. Cool traders out there. You might learn something from other people as well, if that's something you'd like to do. Here's a link. Hold on. Nope, that's not the link. I'll get it for you. Last day to get in. There you go. Fading the initial move's a nice strategy. Yeah, definitely. It's worked out pretty well. Got about 3 minutes here before the stream wraps up, which is also European close. NASDAQ is still holding under 480. I still want to hold. Look, now that they're approaching 500, what do we talk about? They're starting to add 521, and they're starting to add 534. So my confidence for rejecting 500 is diminishing. Especially, now it's still not entirely like, heck yeah, let's blast. But as long as they continue to build these levels, then we could have actually reached 537 before a rejection, if that actually does come. I swear these guys in China are getting some special steroids. Whew, man, I've been trying to get some too. Thanks for your time this morning, info. Nice side gig. Yeah, I'll be, like I said, I'll be posting a YouTube stream, so be looking for that this afternoon, about 15 minutes before they start. I won't come on 15 minutes before they start, but I'll get it going. There we go. 47 again, heading up to 500. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. VIX is still rolling off here too, so the VIX is now under the main pivot, and now the VIX is in liquidation territory here. So keep an eye on the VIX, especially going into and after FOMC. Strong, strong bull flow. Absolutely no selling, so keep on going. I'm rolling my stops up here to see if we can make sure we get 500. I'm not touching them yet, but if we clear 500, I'm going to roll it up and set 470, 465, somewhere in there, and come along. That's it. Keep on going. Keep on going. 19,500. 12 more points. Let's see if they can do it before the stream ends. I got to end it pretty much right now. Give me one more pop to close the stream. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. We only got to 497. Almost. Anyway, there's right against it. We got to 497. Good. They say good enough is close enough is only matters in hand grenades and horseshoes, but I think that's pretty good for trading too. Hope y'all learned a little something, a little bit of EPA and a little bit of utilization of the Bookmap. I'll be back on here in a couple hours for FOMC just prior to 2 o'clock. I'll come on about 1:45 Eastern Time-ish, and we'll have a little fun this afternoon too. So appreciate y'all hanging out. I'll see you next Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern for another Bookmap stream. Until then, go try out that Blue Jacket competition. Last day to sign up, and I'll see you later. I'm out. See you. Also check out the Making Millionaires podcast on Spotify. See you.